Hey guys, welcome back to Post Series. Today I want to do a brief overview of some of the steps that you can take when you are importing a Roto node that was outsourced. So basically, when you're importing these Roto nodes from the outsourcing vendors, they can really boggle down your script. So I've learned over the years they can even corrupt your script. Roto nodes in general can corrupt your script, but these very heavy roto nodes that you would need from the outsourced vendor, usually you need these nodes when you have some characters that you're going to roto, and or something that requires a lot of detail and they want to outsource the roto because it might take a little bit more time in house. So what happens is you get some really good roto. However, the way that it's organized, the way that the node, the number of splines that the roto node has inside of it, even the name of the roto node when you import it could all affect your script and boggle down your script. So some of the things that I like to do, and just from my experiences in the past with roto nodes, one, I like to make sure none of my roto nodes have more than 100 splines. So what I'll actually do is I'll just copy and paste this exact same roto node, and then maybe I'll go ahead and create a backdrop. And what I'll do is I'll just start breaking this roto node apart. So I'll just call it break up. So I'll start breaking up this roto node, and I do want to make sure I keep all the splines, but I don't need them all to be in one node because that might cause the node to corrupt my script or boggle down my script. So just be careful when you're choosing things to delete. So first I'll start by deleting my layer 1 from this node, and then I'll go ahead, I'll copy another roto node, and of course in this one, now that I have layer 2 and that my first roto node, I will actually, which one did I? Well, first of all, make sure you are on the right roto node. So actually, when I'm doing these, I do like to click 1 so that I'm not guessing that I have the right shape open. So this looks like the one that I copied. So what I need to do is, just be careful that you're on the right roto node. So this is the one that we want to break apart. So I'll go ahead and paste that in there. And now I'll keep mat 2. I'll keep mat 1 and I'll delete mat 2 since I have that. And now what I'll do is, now that I have some of the layers broken out, I'll look in each layer and then I'll see about how many splines I have even within those. So this doesn't look like that many, even though the numbers are all over the place. I don't think that there are 100 splines in this layer. And then I'll check the other roto node. So my mat 1, and then I'll look at how many splines are in this layer. And again, there aren't that many splines in this layer either. Now, if there were still a lot of splines, even after I separated out the layers, what I would then do is I would go ahead and simply create another roto. So I would just copy this one and then I would paste it. And then I would just attach these all because I do need all the information from all 3 of these, even though I'm breaking them apart. So let's go down, and then now I'll probably delete this folder. It really doesn't matter. You just keep track of which ones you're deleting so that you make sure you keep them in at least one of the shapes. So I'll just delete these up until 78. So I'll go to this one, and I want to keep everything. I want to delete everything after 78 since 78 was the last one. So I deleted these 3. So now I want to keep those 3. So I'll start deleting after that. And now I have a roto that is even more broken down. Now that's a good first step. Usually these roto nodes will have some very long name. It will be called your project, your shot, your script version. It'll be like a name that's all the way probably down to here. So I just also like to go in there and change it. So I'll just label it Roto and maybe character and then 1. So then I just copy this name and then I'll just name my other Roto something simple, because we don't want the name to cause the Roto to break, because sometimes there are a lot of dashes in the name, a lot of characters that aren't necessarily needed. So you'll have to keep, I'm changing the number because for the Roto node, there can only be one Roto with the same name. So I'm just changing the number so that I can use all 3. And this is how I'll break up my Roto. Now, I might need to use this Roto all over my script. And that means that even though I broke them up, my script is still going to go slow. So what you can then do is you can create a control node that's going to disable these, the outsourced Roto that you imported only, so that all those splines, because there's a bunch of keyframes they have in these nodes. There are a bunch of splines, there are a bunch of opacity keyframes. So there's a lot of stuff happening within these Roto nodes that you're usually importing. And that will, affect the processing time of your Nuke script. So if you want to create a control for those nodes, you can go ahead and you can create a no-op. So this is just a blank node. And then what we want to do here, once you have your no-op node, you want to right click and click on Manage User Knobs. We're going to add a checkbox. We can just name this Roto since we're going to be using it to disable our Rotos. Then we'll also name the label Roto. And then we could just put a quick tip. Turn off and on outsourced Roto. Because for this, we're only going to affect the Roto that from the outsourcing. Then you just click on done. Usually any other Roto from Mocha or just from Nuke probably won't be so heavy that it's going to boggle down your script. But if it is, you can create another no-op for those Roto nodes so that you're not just turning off all the Rotos or connecting all the Rotos to this no-op. We are going to name this no-op. Let's name it Roto Control. So we'll name the no-op Roto Control. And now what we can do is when we click this on and off, first we need to start connecting some properties to this. So what we want to do is we want to open up one of our Roto nodes. Then we want to go over to the Nodes tab. And in that Nodes tab, if we right click on Disable, we can add an expression to that. And the expression that we want to add is we want to simply call it the name of our control node that we created. So we'll do Roto underscore control. This is case sensitive, so you do want to make sure that you it matches the exact same naming. And then we will click dot Roto. And now we are basically expression linking this disable to the no-op control. So we see this line appeared here. And now if we hit check the Roto, we see now that our Roto nodes disable is set on to match this control. So we can just expression link all of our outsourced Rotos to that same I didn't copy it, so I thought I copied my. We can link all of our expression, we can link all of our outsourced Rotos to this expression, and that way, I'll just copy this time so I don't have to keep typing it. And then we'll know when we bring these into Nuke that they will all already be expression linked. Now you do want to also you want to make sure you grab all of this. Or if I'm not sure if you actually need to create the control inside of your actual script. So if so, maybe you can hold off on this process until you import these Roto notes into your script. And now that I've said that, I did realize that I also forget to mention one thing. What I like to do as well, when I'm importing my Roto from outsourcing, I actually like to import those Roto nodes into a blank Nuke script, so that I can make all these changes we just went over before I import them into my actual comp, because I don't want to risk any of these outsourced Roto nodes from corrupting my script or boggling my script down. So I make sure before I even bring these into my script, I already go through, change the names, make sure none of the Roto nodes have more than 100 splines, and then I rename them, break them up, and usually I am creating my control inside of my actual script. So you can also do that in your script. But these are good processes for handling outsourced Roto to make sure it's not going to give you a lot of problems when you're using it, especially if you're using it in a heavy script.